Hey, peace world, what's good? Thanks for checking in with the Pay Me No Mind Sports and Entertainment channel. My name is Wood, and I got to be out of my rabbit ass mind. I got to be out of my mind. How can I think that I'm gonna do something with boxing and like the people that that broadcast and stream boxing? They really can't do nothing with the shit. So I'm not gonna take it personal. That people don't want to know nothing about a sport that the numbers reflect. People don't give a shit about the sport. So I'm gonna start, more and more. Increasingly, we'll be moving over to talk about other interests, which I also had to take into consideration that a lot of the stuff that I like really aren't popular things with people that look like me. That's just the truth. But I can't get down on myself because I kind of don't understand what people's other interests are besides a lot of where I see a lot of the focus going on YouTube, but that's neither here nor there. This is some entertainment talk. Originally, one of the plans with Pay Me No Mind, when it was just a podcast, was really a lifestyle thing. Pause. But it was really more to just talk about what's dope in sport and entertainment. And it was talking about a lot of television shows, movies, music, things like that I thought people cared about. But again, man, it seems like in the family and in the community, it's a lot of interest in who screwed who over, who screwed who's screwing who failed miserably, who's a sellout, who's a lot of drama and a lot of who made money this week. a lot of concern in the interest of others. And that shit is weird to me. I might watch your program. I might buy your album. I might stream your album. I don't really care that you bought a new vehicle or, that you screwed over some artist underneath you. It is the world. It's a dog eat dog world. One thing I'm positive of, at any given moment, somebody is somewhere screwing somebody else, figuratively or literally. It's just the way it is. I bug out a little bit with how people stay immersed in all of that bullshit and then expect to walk around and have some kind of personal joy of any kind when you sit around and deal in bullshit all the time. But the internet, has brought us all together, and some of us think that we're on the level of others, and whatever. I'm gonna start with new music, but I got a couple of TV shows. One that's far along into its season already, in City on the Hill, starring Kevin Bacon and Aldous Hodge. That's a Showtime show, comes on Sundays. I think it goes right to on demand, where you don't even have to wait to the end of the night to check it out. Over on HBO, there's a new show starring Kate Winslet that I'm digging. It's only last week was just the first episode, but the show is called the Mare of Easttown, and I like it because it's down to earth. It's very realistic in a lot of ways. Talk about my thoughts on the first episode of that. And then I guess I'm open with this new album that I checked out by one of my favorite producers in hip hop. And it's got a lot of features on there that I really dig. And it's one of those albums that he didn't even drop the album on Friday when a lot of new music comes out. He just dropped his shit on the 20th of April. Maybe that was because of 420. I don't know, now that I think about it. But it just came out on 420. The album is called The Hour of Khrysis. by producer Khrysis. He's been with this Jamla label for a long time. He's done some beats for Rhapsody. He's done some beats for Conway, who has out La Machina came out last Friday. You know, whenever Conway the Machine comes out, that pretty dominates, you know, a lot of hip hop listening and news and whatnot. But this week, you know, like I said, Khrysis produced a track for Conway on Conway's From a King to a God album. I think the song was something called Khrysis something at the end of that project. So that was pretty dope to see Khrysis get a beat on there or get a producer credit on that project. But man, I really respect Khrysis his sound. I was checking this project out, man, and you know, Khrysis isn't the first name when it comes to producers. He's not the first 2 or 3 names that come out of people's mouths, but dude has a really interesting sound. And as far as I know, he's a producer that does a lot of sampling and relies on sampling to make the majority of his music. But he seems to find some way to put all of it together to make it sound like you just notice that I can say that he has a signature sound. I always dig his drums too. But it's kind of hard to put a finger exactly on what his signature sound is, because he does so many different types of beats. Another thing that I don't think Khrysis got a lot of love for. A couple of years ago, he did a joint project with my guy out of Detroit. Damn, Elzhi. They did a joint called Jeremiah Jackson, I want to say. I'm trying to look it up right now on his website, but they didn't put it under. See, when they come out with these one-off groups, when they come out with these one-off names, and the album doesn't get listed under either of the 2 guys. Let me see if I can find it with Elzhi's name. They came out with this album. It was either Jeremiah Jericho or something. Let me see if it's that's it. Jericho Jackson. I'm sorry. This album was fire. What's up, Lukey? Lukey listened to Migos, so I ain't even go. I don't know what his music. I'll just play it. But Elzhi and Khrysis came out with this Jericho Jackson album in 2018. This shit was fire. And I really started taking notice of dude as a producer. But like I said, he's got a lot his catalog and body of work speaks for itself. But I'm just suggesting to people or recommending, you know, listeners, rap listeners, hip hop listeners, to check out this hour of Khrysis. It has 14 songs on there. A lot of the usual suspects show up in Jamla affiliated artists. Rhapsody is on here with a joint with Rock. Dale the Funky Homo Sapien is on here on a track called Keep Walking On. Heather Victoria is a vocalist, I believe. She's been associated with Jamla for several years. Track 11 is called Negro Spiritual, featuring Busta Rhymes and Pharaoh Monch. Is fire. Damn, Chia Lee is on here. I didn't even pick up on that. I think they messed that up. That's funny. They have Chia Lee listed on the playlist on here, and it's not Chia Lee. It's actually the other dude who was rhyming as a kid who just got out of prison. Shaheem the Rugged Child. It should be him listed on here, but they have Chia. That's kind of messed up. But anyway, yeah, they had Shaheem the Rugged Child on here. Evidence is on here. Problem from the West Coast is on here. I actually like Problem a lot. He's a pretty decent rapper. I just think he kind of has more of an East Coast kind of rhyme scheme to him, but he's in the West Coast and he's kind of gotten lost in the mix and really hasn't been able to break through. But I like dude's flow. De La Soul has a joint on here. Geechee Suede from Camp Low is on here. It's a really solid album, man. 14 tracks. I've listened to it a couple of times now. Like I said, I would recommend it. I might go back and do more of a review on it after I listen to it a couple of more times, but I'm only listened to it about 2 or 3 times. I don't really have any standout bars or anything from anybody in particular, although the Busta Rhymes and Pharoah Monch joint is definitely some dope lyrics on there and performances, flows and whatnot from those two. But that's a dope record that stands out. The Disrespect featuring Rhapsody and Cyrock is pretty solid. One of my favorite, one of the better beats on there, in my opinion. The De La Soul joint is different because older De La Soul is a lot different than 3 Feet High and Rising De La Soul, and the Stakes is High De La Soul. It's a little different here in Plug 1 and Plug 2 in 2021, and it's really not on no nerdy shit or no hippie shit. I mean, it's like straightforward rhyming, but it's still De La Soul. But they like rapping about like bass speakers or some shit. I don't know, but the song is, and that's the thing. It's really just an album full of like freestyling, just lyrics. It's no real gangster shit on here. It's just like old school, just lyricism. But I will say nobody on here really bowls me over lyrically with any one of the songs in particular. But as one of the current things in rap music, where you have a lot of producers putting out albums with a dozen or more features on there. Buck Wild had one of my favorite, a DITC producer who ironically produced the late Black Rob. He actually produced Whoa, Buck Wild. That's kind of weird that he produced that because he's not really a platinum single type guy. But Buck Wild is a really dope producer. But he had one of my favorite albums of 2020. And he had like 14 tracks on there with 14 different MCs. He did it. What other producers? Apollo Brown out of Detroit had a compilation album or whatever with a bunch of different features on there. It's really popular right now. It's either producers releasing albums or it's an MC teaming up with one particular producer to produce the entire album. We just saw that from Benny the Butcher just dropped the album with The Burden of Proof was all produced by Hit Boy. Nas King's Disease was all produced by Hit Boy. Alchemist produced everything on Alfredo from Freddie Gibbs. Then we had The Plugs I Met Too by Benny the Butcher, which was all produced by Harry Fraud. So that's kind of what's going on in hip hop right now. And this joint right here, the Hour of Khrysis is one of those types of albums. And I'm just shouting it out. I think it deserves a listen, and you would enjoy it if you put it into your rotation and checked out some other stuff. Moving on to these TV show updates. I'll start with City on the Hill, which probably I think I want to say is episode 5 or 6 is out there right now, season 2. I continue to kind of be baffled by this show, man, as I don't know what the hell it's about, really. I think my connection to it is just seeing Kevin Bacon really play a true piece of shit that nobody likes. And we haven't really seen Kevin Bacon really, be a villain or an antagonist in anything before. So, and then, like I said, the show is so far from having any kind of political correctness. I mean, they use the F word for gays. Kevin Bacon is calling women cunts. He's or the C word. It's racial slurs. No race is protected with the racial slur being used. It's just a really grungy, grimy show. And I'm just tuning into it every week trying to see where the hell it's going. And I think that's also kind of one of the weaknesses of it in terms of me not really seeing other people covering the show or breaking down the episodes, because there's like no villain to really gravitate towards or root for in the way that you have Snowfall with Franklin Saint, which had its finale, season finale this week. I believe that was season 4. Coincidentally, I just saw where there was some new cast members named to the 50 Cent's forthcoming Black Mafia family show. And I can imagine already, that's going to be the next figure that's hot on social media, is whoever is playing Big Meech, or just the character Big Meech, is going to be the next, villain that everybody is out here talking about. But that's neither here nor there. So let's see. It was with City on the Hill. Let me see where it is. Tonight will be East of Eden. Last week was Overtime White and Overtime Stupid was the name of episode 4. The one thing that's kind of happened in this that really, and like I said, you don't know who to get attached to in this show, because all of the villains from season 1 were gone by the end of season 1. And then, like, the main bad guy, he ends up going away to jail at the end of the season, but his wife was left behind, and she returns in this season. And then that villain's brother, who snitched on him and gave him up, he was in the show. His name is Jimmy. So it was Jimmy and his sister-in-law return in season 2, but the sister-in-law just capped Jimmy's ass in episode 4. She shot him in the face and killed him. And he was supplying her heroin for her to sell in her neck of the woods. I think it was Southie. I think that's what I seen enough Boston-based movies and whatnot, and all you hear is Southie. But so he was supplying her with dope to sell. She went and took it. She packaged up the dope and turned herself into a mule to take the heroin behind the wall. You know what that process involves. That's how gritty the show is, man. They actually show her getting the balloon together to insert the balloon into her ass to go through the well, I guess I'm assuming he's in Walpole. I've heard that enough on these Boston movies or these mass movies to understand Walpole. But she takes it to one of the friends of her husband, I guess, so he can earn some money behind the wall. But we still haven't seen that character from last year. So he hasn't been in any of the episodes yet. So basically what we've been watching to this point is the back and forth and the rivalry between Aldous Hodge, who plays DeCourcy Ward, and Jackie Rohr, who's played by Kevin Bacon. The only other thing that I can make out of heads or tails of from the show is that DeCourcy Ward is an assistant DA, district attorney, and Jackie Rohr is an FBI agent who never checks into his office. And it's just this war, this back and forth war between police department. That's really all I can make out of this show. So DeCourcy has been planting evidence. He's killed suspects. He's done it all. Whatever he needed to do to get a case closed or to turn somebody into an informant, he's done it all. And I guess that's just what we're just watching, is the maneuvering. And in this season, the one thing that that Rohr has done, which I don't know, and I'm not trying to play dumb, but him and this federal attorney who was in Boston, Jackie Rohr, is married. They spent a lot of time showing his wife. She's kind of some dead weight on the show, but I won't spend a lot of time on her. But Jackie Rohr, he's out screwing prostitutes. He's in the massage parlor. He's just he's a mess. But he was partying with this federal attorney who has a family and is married. But she was out partying with Jackie Rohr and OD'd on some cocaine. And so Jackie Rohr panicked. This happened in like episode 2, maybe, or maybe at the end of episode 1. But Jackie Rohr panics and takes her to this hospital and drops her off where another character that was in the first season, who's retired from the FBI, he's the security guy at the hospital, and he takes care of the security cam footage where Jackie Rohr dropped off the lady. So DeCourcy Ward been out partying and doing cocaine with Jackie Rohr. I don't know how he puts this together, but that's how good of a DA DeCourcy Ward is. So he's been chasing down evidence to kind of put this together to charge Jackie Rohr. Reckless manslaughter? I don't know. But anyway, she ends up in a coma, and Jackie Rohr is leaning on his friend of him dropping the woman off. And then he's out on the street trying to pick up dirt on DeCourcy Ward to tell him to get off his ass and leave him alone. That's kind of where we are with up in the other storyline that's been developing over the first 4 or 5 episodes is in this Roxbury neighborhood, I guess the black community in Boston. In this housing project, I can't remember, the Summit or something. There's these 2 brothers, Anton and I can't think of the younger brothers, Calvin maybe. It's these 2 brothers that control the heroin trade in the projects. And their mother is a power player in things because she's connected with the clergy. Actually got Leon on here as she's like a community activist. I guess she runs the all the rent for the project and stands up to the thugs in the projects. But all this is going on, and she didn't realize that her sons that live in her apartment with her, they're the ones in charge of the drug trafficking that goes on there. But over the last couple of episodes, some different things have happened to her sons with the Boston Police Department that lets her know here she was thinking that the younger son was going to possibly go into the armed forces or go to college, but he's a street hood. You know, he's out selling dope with his older brother. Then the other thing here is that an 11-year-old girl caught a stray bullet and passed away, and was killed in a shootout involving the two brothers and this other crew. And that's why the police have been gathering information on the two brothers. And now Anton is locked up. They caught him with a pistol and with drugs on him. And they're trying to squeeze him to figure out who shot the young girl. And of course, Mom, what's up, D-Lo? I'm doing a live chat at 11, Reg, if you want to hop on. I'll tune in, man. I'll tune in, Lukey, and you know, talk about some shit nobody wants to hear. Sure, why not? Actually, I think I'm gonna go get this bike ride in, man. Let me check this weather and see if it's gonna rain or not. If it's raining, you know, I'll join. So yeah, with City on the Hill, that's kind of where it is. The other thing that DeCourcy Ward miraculously does without even leaving his office or working a crime scene or looking at any fingerprints or ballistics information, he puts two and two together very quickly that the ex-wife, the wife, I think her name is Tess. He puts two and two together that she shot and killed Jimmy. And so he goes to lean on, I'm sorry, her name is Kathy. Yeah, Kathy Ryan. So one thing here, Jimmy had borrowed $10,000 worth of he had $10,000 that he needed to repay the two brothers for some heroin that he took to Kathy, because Kathy is down in hard times now that her husband is behind bars and she lost her beauty shop. Jimmy went in front of the drugs to Kathy to turn around so he could go re-up and, you know, kind of create this constant set up their territory where they were going to sell drugs. But like I said, she kills Jimmy, being pissed off at him for getting her husband, Jimmy's brother, locked up for the rest of his life. She kills him. And like I said, without any type of investigation whatsoever, DeCourcy Ward goes and approaches Kathy and tells her, I know you did it. I just haven't put two and two together. You know, I don't have a smoking gun to pin on you, but I know you did it. And if you want to play ball with me on something else, you know, maybe I can look the other way, because it was Jimmy and nobody liked Jimmy. So that's kind of where we are with that. Like I said, the other episode 5 is out there right now, which it looks like it's called Overtime White and Overtime Stupid. And it just, the synopsis is Jackie reckons with the destructive consequences of his actions, with violence intensifying. DeCourcy, Anton, and Siobhan. That's the other interesting thing here, which is a clear conflict of interest. But DeCourcy Ward's wife, Siobhan, is the attorney for Anton. That's his lawyer. That makes no sense. But she doesn't use her last name. She doesn't use Ward as her last name. So I guess that's how they get around this. And then it also says Grace makes an unfortunate miscalculation. Jenny befriends a mysterious woman. I think Jenny is oh, that's dope. Benny Boom is the director of this episode. Benny Boom used to do hip hop videos back in the day. That was another thing. That was an error that they made last week. They actually had Cream, I want to say, was the Wu-Tang song that they had as the music being played in the projects. And the time period, like, is 10 years ahead of when Wu-Tang was even a thing. So that's a little error that I picked up on last week, but that's neither here nor there. The show was pretty decent, man, but I don't know what the hell I'm watching. Um, it's just policing a black community and trying to lock these two brothers up. And you have a single parent mom who wants to do the right thing for her boys and is kind of powerless now that they've become young men and now that they've become entrepreneurs in this drug trade. And Anton is really not just the older brother, he is a damn Nino Brown type cat who's just been acting like a pussycat when he's really king of the jungle in so many words. The one thing that I am keeping an eye on is like Anton lost his money on giving his dope to Jimmy, and they haven't really, well, he's locked up right now, so he can't do anything about it. But they just haven't really addressed the fact that actually maybe he paid him for what he had, because Jimmy was adamant that he didn't want to take any dope on a loan because he didn't want no problems from that. So maybe they were all squared up on that regard right there. So maybe that's not an open item any longer. So that's it, man. Like I said, the show was fairly solid. With this being the 5th episode. The other thing is that Anton actually shot the other crew, the leader of the other crew. I think his name is Jimmy Copeland or Killer J or something, or whatever they called him. He actually tracked him down and shot him in the stomach, and the kid didn't die, but he hasn't told the police who shot him. And they haven't said whether or not the pistol that they picked up Anton with, whether or not it was the same one that shot Jimmy Copeland. So that's the other thing that we don't know. He is behind bars at the moment, so who knows if he's gonna get out. But like, so that's that. That's pretty much it with City on the Hill. The other thing I'm gonna talk on, and then I'm gonna get ready to get on off of here, is the Mare of Easttown. Again, man, I know this show isn't popping with the urban audience. I know it's not must-watch TV, for people who look like me. I get that. But again, I'm tired of the same shit being given to black audiences. Like I said, I'm not all that upbeat really about 50 Cent bringing Black Mafia Family to Starz Network. I'm not saying I'm against it and that I hate it. I'm just saying based on the time, what's going on in the community right now, the number of shows that are out there dealing with this same subject matter, I just think it's oversaturating that lane. But again, hey, it's a free, you can do whatever the funk you want to do in America. So if you want to have 20 shows with black people killing each other over drugs and money and territory, by all means, do what you got to do. I'm just saying, I'm just saying I got other ways to spend my time. I don't listen to just one song. I don't read just one book. I don't watch just one game. I don't watch just one fight on repeat. Like I like some diversity in my shit. So for me, I just don't have any more. I don't have any empty roster spots for drug dealers. So it'll be interesting to see who is cast, and maybe they've named it already. I just haven't looked into it that closely, but maybe they've already named who's gonna play Big Meech. But I'm really not all that interested in it. And another thing about that genre, it's just how you gonna handle it. You know, it's and we already know. I mean, if you want to glorify, you know, the dope boy, the dope seller, the drug kingpin, so on and so forth. But it becomes clearly evident when the writers really haven't investigated the subject matter that they're writing about. And for me, you know, to sit here and watch some of this stuff and understand that that's not really how black people would do this or talk or handle this, or that's what I don't really care for. And that's what I had an issue with on Power. Was it was clear that there was no respect to the craft of writing, and that you didn't have the right individuals writing about the people who the actual characters were. It was clearly a major disconnect there. But the mayor of Easttown, it's a, what do they call this? A limited series. I don't know if it's 6 episodes or 8 just yet. Um, Trying to see something real quick. So it's at 8.1 right now on IMDb. 8.1 out of 10. The first episode really wasn't going to blow anybody away, in all likelihood. The synopsis on it is that a detective in a small Pennsylvania town investigates a local murder while trying to keep her life from falling apart. A fairly familiar archetype in Kate Winslet's character, you know, a police officer or detective whose home life, personal life is shitty. You know, it is this small town in Pennsylvania. I want to say it's outside of Philadelphia. Um, but she was this star basketball player in high school, and I guess the team won a state championship like 25 years ago, and that was the highlight of her life. Kate Winslet. Her name is Mare something. But she has a couple of kids. I think she lives with her mom, maybe, and then a brother or a cousin lives with her. The father of her child lives in a house behind behind them, and he just announced last week that he's marrying some girl. He's got a fiance now. So you've learned some different things about Mayor's background. And then she's just in this small town. And it's, like I said, I like the scale of the story. And then the one thing that they did really well, at the end of the episode, of course, it kind of really finds its footing in that you didn't know what the hell, where this was. You kind of got a sense of where it was going before it happened. But there was this young mother who's maybe like a year out of high school or maybe even a senior in high school. But there's this young mother who's very impressionable. Um, and well, she's interacting with somebody online, some kind of dating site or something. The father of her child is involved with another girl. And like I said, it's just life in these small towns where everybody, you know, there's only one bar to go to. They got some little area out in the woods that they all hang out at and make out with one another and smoke, drink, whatever. And this single mom, I can't remember her name, but anyway, at the end of the episode, the highlight of it is she's found after she goes out to meet this person that she'd been texting to meet this guy, and she ends up dead at the end of the episode. And she was found naked, I believe, and she was left in this creek with some, with some signs of physical damage. She was raped, and Mare, Kate Winslet, has this new case to investigate. So it was kind of slow getting around to all of that and really showing you what the teeth of the show is, and what the suspense is going to be, or what the drama is going to revolve around. But that's what it eventually got to. See if I can find this first episode real quick. So like I said, man, I'm more for good storytelling, for legitimate drama, and real suspense. I ain't really into the over the top shit and a bunch of nudity and screwing just for the sake. Like, I've been watching tits and ass for 35, 40 years or whatever. That shit doesn't really do anything for me anymore. So if I'm gonna give you 50 minutes of my time, show me something that has me sitting on the edge of my seat by real storytelling. I mean, I ain't opposed to a little bit of, if you do have some beautiful characters. I've been checking out that Them series on Amazon Prime, and the sister that plays the wife on there, Emery, Luck Emery. I think her name is Deborah Ayorinde. I think she's gorgeous, but that's neither here nor there. But I mean, if you're gonna have somebody that's a Sanaa Lathan or Teyonah Parris or somebody, and they doing some stuff, I mean, an episode or two of that, I ain't mad at that. I'm not mad at that. But beyond that, there has to be something for me to really tune into, and hold my attention. So anyways, looks like this show is 7 episodes is what it's gonna be. Why can I not find? That's it. Like the rest of these characters. Oh, Guy Pearce is on here. I've seen him in a couple of movies. He was in Iron Man 3, I believe. Guy Pearce plays like a writer that's in town teaching a class or something. Ironically, him and Kate Winslet hook up in the first episode. One night stand action. Of course, like I said, this character that Mare is all familiar. Like, her life is all boring and shit. She's promiscuous, like, and of course she doesn't give a shit if they have because Guy Pearce, of course, asked her for her phone number after they meet at this bar. It was actually like a celebration after the high school basketball team was recognized for winning, the 25-year reunion or whatever, for winning the state championship. And the other thing that you learn here is that one of her teammates, who's in a late stage of fighting cancer, her daughter has been missing for a very long time, and there haven't been any leads in the case. And the department, the police department, is under fire because they haven't done anything with this case. And now, by the end of the episode, with this second young woman popping up dead, now things are really going to heat up. And that's kind of how we get into whatever this story is about. But the rest of these characters, I really don't know too many of them. Jean Smart, I believe she might have just been in she might have been the federal agent or whatever in the Watchmen series that was just on HBO. The one that was like, that had the previous relationship with Dr. Manhattan or whatever his name was. She's in it. I couldn't tell you a lot of these other people, to be honest with you. None of them really jump off the screen for me. But like I said, I think what's going to be the selling point of this show is the fact that it appears to have some real mystery to it, some real suspense. HBO's been doing really well right now with these limited series. They just had The Undoing with the redhead. I can't even think of her damn name. Hugh Grant. Damn, I cannot think of her name for nothing. But they just had that show on there. Last year they had the Outsider, I believe was what it was, with Jason Bateman. That one was really dark and gritty. And it had the one I need to pull all of these up to remember these characters' name. I mean these actors and actresses' names. But they had that one. All of these. They also HBO also had the one with Mark Ruffalo that was really gritty and really kind of that shit was really disappointing and kind of like pessimistic and real dark. But that wasn't my favorite, but it was what it was. The Undoing was really a disappointment, to be honest, in what it was built up to be. By the time we got to the final episode, it really didn't blow me away, to be honest. Your Honor was just on Showtime. There were some people that liked that one with Bryan Cranston, Carmen Jogo, or whatever her name is. That was just a one-off, one season, but it did give you 10 episodes. Sharp Things was on HBO a few years ago now with Amy Adams. So HBO's been kind of focusing on these standalone. Watchmen was only one season. They want to do a second season, but I think it's David Fincher. He doesn't want nothing to do with it. So anyway, that's it with the Mare of Easttown. Let me know if you plan on checking it out. Have you already checked it out? You a Kate Winslet fan? You out? You in? Like I said, 8.1. I was trying to bring up the episode list. Yeah, the first one was called Miss Lady Hawk Herself. Lady Hawk was the name of the basketball team. And then just the synopsis was after answering a call about a neighborhood. That's another thing that's happening at the beginning of the episode. This older lady who apparently calls Mare, her name is Detective Mare Sheehan. She calls her a lot instead of calling the other police, the regular police, the patrol cops. She calls her because she knows her. And she contacted her about this neighborhood prowler, which is kind of setting the stage for you to be for us viewers to focus on. Is there a connection between this prowler and the dead girls, or are those two separate things altogether? Is this just some pervert running around who's no killer? But it says the synopsis for the first one was Detective Mare Sheehan shoulders her chief's directive to revive an unsolved missing persons case amid increased community pressure. Later, while her loved ones celebrate her ex-husband Frank's engagement, Mare attends a celebration for her legendary high school basketball win and connects with Richard, Guy Pearce, a professor who's new in town. And that's really accurate because that's all that happened. And then tonight's episode 2 is Fathers. And the synopsis for that one is Mare visits a grisly murder scene before informing the victim's enraged father. We met him in episode 1. As a video from the night of the crime surfaces, Mare questions suspects in the case and gives an icy welcome to County Detective Colin Zabel, who's been called in to assist. Later, Mare bumps heads with locals and airs concerns about her grandson, Drew, in light of her late son's mental health struggles. Yeah, because she has this, we met her grandson in the first episode, and then I'm looking at her teenage daughter, and I'm like, well, where is the parent to this boy? So that's what it is. Her son is dead. Her older son passed away. Okay, so that's something that they didn't really drive that point home, unless I missed it. But so like I said, man, it's very down to earth. It seems like a lot of characters with some flawed or with some major flaws. Like I said, man, all these shows out here that hype everything up and make everything look so sexy, everybody's screwing everybody, and couple episodes they give you some TNA on someone you wouldn't expect to see. Like, how many times is Lala Anthony? That's kind of her lane right now, is getting passed around from show to show and just sleeping with random dudes. And it's like, when are y'all gonna get this woman some shit with any kind of substance to it? She was basically, she was on some bullshit in Power, Lala Anthony, and then she pops up over in the Shy, and she's screwing. Last year she was screwing Emmett, and it looks like in this upcoming season that's gonna start in 3 or 4 weeks. Now she's screwing Darnell, Emmett's father, it looks like. And it's just like, shit is, when you gonna do something else between hop up on counters in random settings and get screwed, like, damn. So that's it. City on the Hill, Mare of Easttown. That's kind of what my my Sunday nights are focusing on right now. I did just finish up The Falcon and the Snowman. The movie from back in the day. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I don't really have any major thoughts on that one. I also think, and I touched on this earlier on the live stream with Chicago PD. I do think that show is kind of doing a fairly, I'd say, excellent. I think they've done a really good job of depicting life in Chicago, from the gangs, the shootings, the violence, the street violence, policing, the challenges in policing, the police force attempting to fix itself and police itself and change its policies on the fly and whatnot. I think Chicago PD has done, and I think that's produced by Dick Wolf. And I know Eric LaSalle was involved with being a producer or directing things for a while. I think his run over there might have just ended. But I think it's done a respectable job at showing you all, at giving, and I don't think it's a matter of doing it right, but I think they've just shown you how flawed and how difficult all this is, and all the different layers to it, and the confusion involved with it, and the difficulty in improving anything. And I think it's just been dope to sit back and behold it all. So anyway, I keep throwing that out there. Check out Chicago PD. Let me get on off of here. Appreciate everybody that checked in. D-Lo 404 Boxing, ITR Boxing. Check both of those pages out for boxing coverage, updates, analysis, fight recaps, headline discussions on the big headlines in boxing. Jamal, what's good, man? I was listening the other day when 503 clarified that for us, that your name is actually pronounced Jamal. I hope, or Jamel. Maybe that's, damn, I didn't, my bad. You said one of the E's is silent or something, so maybe it's Jamel. I said I was just gonna call you Jelly Bean. It's no mistakes right there. Anyway, like I said, man, I'm getting ready to try to get out here and get this exercise in and stay on task with that. Do me a favor, check out the It's Always Personal podcast. Maybe this is all confusing, but it's out there. It's Always Personal on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor.fm. Actually, this week, man, I had to talk about, this is a crazy week with the situation in Columbus, Ohio with Ma'Khia Bryant. and the Columbus Police Department, the verdict of in Minneapolis of George Floyd, or in the George Floyd murder case, former Minnesota or Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin. You know, we had the death or the killing of Dante Wright a couple days before the verdict. And then Friday, actually, I want to say it was Wednesday down in North Carolina, the sheriff department down there shot and killed Andrew Brown Jr. It's a wild world. And okay, it's Jamal. My bad. I was right then. Yeah, but it's a lot of stuff out here, man. And feel how you want to feel about it. I'm not trying to tell you that my perspective on all of that shit is the only way to look at it. What I am saying though is that it's a lot of voices weighing in on all of this stuff. And maybe not all of these views are going to benefit you in your day-to-day. And then weighing in on a lot of this stuff, like, what does it even do? What does it really accomplish? I sit and I watch the Facebook page of the local news station, and I see the opinions of a lot of white people in my city. And the viewpoints towards a lot of these matters is concerning. To never address like the issue that the what the news report was about, to never address the killing, but just always rushing to defend who did the killing, and never address any of the situations and the details of that specific situation, but just to always rush out there with the same defense. That's reckless to me. And it basically gets you to a point where, hey, we just don't fuck with one another. And I think that's a crazy world to live in. But you know, for the people that don't want to really dig into any of this shit and understand anything 360, that's kind of where we got to go with it. Like, I'm gonna give you your space, give me my space, and basically, you know, fuck me, fuck you. And like I said, I don't think we were there. I don't think we were there 6 years ago on the way that we are now. And I guess we got to deal with it. But anyway, I talked about a lot of that on this episode. It's always personal, so check that out. Let me get on out of here. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.